Hi, everyone, and welcome to our newest podcast episode. I am here today with a very special guest. He is an off-plan and investment consultant, Rennie Sanger. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, good. Thank you. How are you?
Good, very well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's a great pleasure and honor.
No, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay, so as far as I know, you worked in sales for 14 years. Is that correct?
In sales in 14 years in total, yes. Real estate just over 10 years between London and Dubai.
That's a lot of experience. Like you have a lot of insight and everything. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of our listeners would like to know if you can tell us some of the best home buying and selling tips for the residents in Dubai. Are there any specific things that you can tell us, like some tips about, buying a place?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think with buying, to be honest with you, it's about getting your ducks in order, as it were. So I think if you're kind of decided that it's finally time to buy in Dubai, as it were, I'd always kind of start with the finance side of things. So making sure if you need a mortgage, for example, you've got the necessary down payment required, and then you also speak to your bank. But I'd also say preferably a independent mortgage broker who basically will be able to give you insights to the whole market, basically speaking to every single bank or lender that is available. One thing to be mindful of as well, if you're looking to buy maybe in the secondary market versus the off-plan segment of the market, there will be some difference in terms of the associated costs. Second top tip I'd say is make sure you're speaking to RERA licensed brokers. So RERA is the governing body for all real estate here in Dubai, essentially, and all brokers that are operating must be RERA licensed. Now, don't get me wrong, you will meet some people who are not, but just be mindful. You can ask them for their RERA license number, so you know that you're dealing with somebody who's accredited.
Okay.
Over and beyond that, to be honest with you, a lot of the top tips are generally kind of very basic. Kind of meet your brokers. If you're going to go out and you're looking for properties, try to not do it all over the phone. Make sure you meet the person and give that broker as much detail as you possibly can about what you're looking for and what's important to you, because essentially you're entrusting them to go out and find it. And so, the more information you can give them, whether that's school catchment or, where you want to be 5-10 minutes drive to Sheikh Zayed Road, whatever your requirements may be. So they're kind of back to basics essentially, but they save so much time in the later stages. Otherwise, you find that you'll get offered things and it's not what essentially you're looking for.
Yeah. So basically just to set the clear guidelines, to have an actual conversation, to communicate, and to be aware of who your broker is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, if you know exactly what you're looking for, if you have a community in mind, then try to do some of your own research as well. There's a lot of information available online in terms of floor plans and different types that may be available. Because once you understand it yourself, you get really good at understanding what the true price of the property is. So when something comes available, you'll be, ready to pick up that phone and make the necessary viewings or an offer, whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's it. That's incredible. That's really good to know, because I'm not sure that a lot of people, are that careful. You really need to be careful when you're doing something like that. It's a huge investment.
Absolutely. And I think that there's a lot of information available now. I think Dubai has been very forthcoming with information. Now it allows buyers to be a lot more empowered than they perhaps once were 10, 15 years ago. So a lot of data is available. Yeah. You can, make sure you understand the community, the different floor plans. And especially now the market as it is quite a busy market. The prices are up. There's a lot more transactions happening. So again, that you might find a lot of open days getting advertised, and certain community properties are selling on the first viewing. So top tip, if you happen to be going to an open day, wear a bright color and go and try and find who the owner is. The owner may well be at the open day. Introduce yourself. Make sure they hear your story. I've had young couples who like looking at townhouses, 3-bedroom townhouses, just starting out their family. And for a lot of sellers, they love the sentiment of selling their family home to another young couple who are starting out themselves. So that might be the difference of your offer versus somebody else's offer. So every little inch we can get to try and win you an offer, that they all come into play.
But now we're talking about brokers, and you kind of answered this already, but the question is how to choose a good broker, and what red flags should the potential buyers avoid? So obviously frauds, but like how to spot that.
Sure. So choosing a broker, I guess depending on what community you're looking for, I would tend to say try to find who's active within that community. Mm-hmm. So you can do so by kind of looking on Property Finder and Bayou and Dibizzle, which are like the three big platforms where you search for properties. And you could do so based on how many listings they may have as well. Now, it doesn't entirely tell you the whole story, but you would at least think that if someone's got a lot of listings in one particular area or development, you'd like to at least think that they'll have good product knowledge of that community. So if you're maybe in one area and you're thinking about trying a different one, at least they'll be able to give you a different idea of which layouts have the maze room, which ones don't, what views, what the service charges are, all the kind of basic information which you'll need in order for you to make a decision. Another thing will be, again, we pretty much Google everything in this day and age anyway, but so it'll be the same. Google your broker, type their name into Google. I'm sure you'll find some hits. You're looking out obviously for good reviews, testimonials from previous clients, but also if someone's had a bad experience, people do tend to write about it. So that's when you can start to find your red flags, if you like. RERA number, which I touched on before, make sure they are a RERA licensed broker. As for what to watch out for, that's going to be essentially it. The only other thing I could maybe touch on is what I like to call commission breath. Now, there are a lot of brokers out there that are perhaps too focused about getting their commission and not necessarily selling what it is you're looking for. And I think that's based on two things. You need to have, as I said before, open dialogue with your broker. So that will be the red flags itself, just making sure back to basics. Don't go with pushy agents, essentially. You're making a huge purchase. Make sure you feel comfortable with the process, with who you're dealing with. And if you feel that you're not getting the service you desire, then there's a lot of other brokers out there. So, don't hesitate to switch if in an event that you're feeling like you're not getting the right service.
Yeah, exactly. So do your research and carefully select someone. And also the reviews. I think that's also really important. Like you said, they're going to leave a review if something was not as it should have been.
Absolutely.
I think I have a question that I think everybody wants to know here, if you can share, and that is basically, what are some of the trends that we can maybe expect on Palm Jumeirah next year? Is there something new happening in the real estate world?
Well, to be honest with you, I think a lot of it is based on sentiment in the real estate world, probably essentially anyway, but the Palm Jumeirah is such an exciting time. I mean, I live on the Palm myself as well, and it's such an exciting time to be here with what's been happening at West Beach as of late. There's so many cool restaurants and bars and, adding so much more to the nightlife. You have the Ocean Beach Club that's coming later on, which is obviously formerly in Ibiza. The Marriott and Hilton Hotel that's about to open.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Roberto's Italian restaurant from DIFC is about to open in the One Palm as well. So there's just so much going on, some great additions in Club Vestamere. You have Sushi Samba coming up in Palm Tower. So I think with all these excellent restaurants and amenities, it's going to really, really cement the Palm Jumeirah as one of the number one destinations in Dubai. So I do feel we're going to see a surge in prices. We already have, actually, in the last 6 to 8 months, villa prices have been, rapidly increasing. Apartment prices are starting to come up a little bit as well. Mm-hmm. And we're also seeing reflection in that in the rent as well. I mean, albeit as a tenant on the Palm Jumeirah, much to my disappointment, but it was expected. I think we had a good ride while the rents were low, but I think we're coming out the other side, and there's just so much going on in Palm Jumeirah as a micro community, but with Dubai as a whole. I think if you were in the market and you were always on the fence about buying, it was probably the best time to be getting into the market. Mm-hmm. If you look at it as a whole, we're still about 40% down on 2014 prices, which is still quite low, but we've seen a really fast increase as well. So I think it's only going to go one way.
Yeah, but that's honestly incredible. Like, I've been to Dubai once and I was mesmerized mostly about Palm Jumeirah because there is literally nothing you can't do. Like, there are so many restaurants, like whatever, you name it and you have it. So it's definitely incredible to live there and experience it. Yeah, that's honestly incredible. Well, that's all about the time that we have. Thank you so much for this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate it, and I think you also helped a lot of people who are thinking about buying something in Dubai.
If you want to be part of community conversations, make sure you email info@seeyouaround.app. For all things community, events and lifestyle, download the See You Around community app now.